Hello everyone and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. The phrase, the new evangelization, gets bandied around a lot these days. It was first said by Pope John Paul II. John Paul included in the idea that the new evangelization was as much or not more of a re-evangelization to former Christian societies which had largely and have largely given up their Christ-centeredness. Now, if that's true for whole societies, it's certainly true for parts of societies. I'm speaking specifically of that part of society which calls itself Catholic. I'm not speaking specifically about the institutional church, although the day-to-day man in the pews is certainly part of that. What needs to be recognized is that whole swaths, almost entire generations of Catholics need evangelizing. Time and time again, we here at RealCatholicTV.com hear from non-Catholics that practically no Catholic they meet can explain anything of the faith to them. And the reason for that is simple. They can't explain it because they don't know it. They don't know it because they were never taught it. Which is why the primary goal of any evangelization effort must be to Catholics predominantly. This doesn't mean to exclude non-Catholics. Indeed, we each have an obligation to give a reason for our hope, as St. Peter says in his letter, to anyone who asks. But there is a priority, and that priority is screaming out for Catholics to be evangelized, to be catechized. We've spoken many times about the sad reality of the loss of faith on the part of so many Catholics, the walking away from the faith by tens of millions of Catholics, the near abandonment of it by so many. This is precisely why we need to focus on fellow Catholics. Not without a doubt, this will be a difficult task. Most Catholics who have let their faith lapse have accepted in its place the values of the world. Not all, but most. They accept divorce and remarriage, contraception, abortion, pornography, you know the list. We know the list. It goes on and on. But it is precisely because they are so steeped in the world's values that faithful Catholics can make some headway. Eventually, the world's values lead to unhappiness and sadness and spiritual despair. As one psychologist put it a few years back, if sex made you happy, then America should be the happiest country on earth. But it isn't. Begin a discussion with these folks comparing the end results of following the Church's teaching compared to the world's teachings. What do you get when you follow the world? Well, that's pretty simple. Take a look around and just look at a newspaper headline. But even if the former Catholic you're talking to doesn't have a life wrecked in emotional pain or addiction or freestyle sex, you can still point out that what he has done is substitute joy for pleasure. Pleasure is an easy-come, easy-go proposition. No one always walks around filled with pleasure, but plenty of people walk around filled with joy. No serious Catholic is ever absent joy because joy resides in the soul and pleasure acts on the body. Pleasure is fickle, joy hangs around. The bottom line is that sin has an effect in this life as well as the next. Efforts at evangelization should begin with talking to people where they live. Will this be difficult? Sure. No one wants to admit his life's choices have essentially been selfish and wrong. But people always know, down deep, where they live, where they know the truth about their lives, they know they lack joy. Satan is all about pleasure. God is about joy and right pleasure. This one little gem can go a long way. All we have to do is make sure that we are models of that joy ourselves. I'm Michael Voris.
Please help us keep delivering these kinds of messages that so desperately need to be heard and acted on. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber. Become immersed in the faith established by Jesus Christ. The Catholic Church is the only hope against evil because that is its God-given mission. As our Lord said, apart from me, you can do nothing. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber and come to learn and love Christ more deeply.